All right, first thing I want you to do, so everyone's in Chrome. Do you have your bookmark bar showing? This thing up here. If you don't, where you have the three dots, you would go to bookmarks and then show bookmark bar. You want to make sure you have your bookmark bar viewable. Help each other out, if you notice someone's kind of getting lost. Okay? Once you have your bookmark bar available, let's go to the tinyurl calendar. So www.tinyurl.com, and then it goes / Nate, I'll be with you in a second, Mr. Kane, CHS. And so you should get the calendar popping up.
What's the bookmark?
So you see where the three dots are over here on the, the right side of the screen? Or do you have three lines? You have PC, I have Mac, so there's probably going to be some things that are a little bit different. Hit where the lines are. Should be bookmarks and then show bookmark bar. You good? So the web address again is www.tinyurl, which is all one word, .com. Then you go to the / Mr. Kane, CHS, no punctuation whatsoever. But that should bring up for you the Google Calendar. Now the web address is going to be a gobbledygook of mess, but you should therefore get CHS ARG September 2016 would look like this. Once you have that, where your little star is at the end of the address bar, click on that so that it bookmarks the page. Therefore, because I want to ruin your lives and be with you all the time while you are online, we'll get there, you should then get CHS ARG showing up in your bookmark bar. So anytime you log on to a computer using Google Chrome with your Gmail password, that calendar you would have access to. All right? Mr. Kane. CHS. All one word. And that should do it. And then to bookmark it, hit that little star next to it. And then, yep, hit done, and then you got it.
Wait, I'm not going to
David, you okay?
I'm not getting, I don't.
You can't get the calendar? No, he didn't.
What?
I said no, he didn't.
I don't know what's wrong.
Tamara, you're good? Okay.
www.tinyurl.com.
Well, you need to type it in the address bar. Stupid people do stupid things.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Now, again, if you have not used the calendar much before, that's okay. I'm not coming down on you. But for things to take note of, notice under Monday the 12th, logical fallacy Quizlet. So if you still needed to do some practice tonight, you could go to Monday 12th. You clicked on the fallacy Quizlet description. It has the Quizlet hyperlink. Which would take you to where you could practice it right away. If you still needed to go over the notes that we had, we did logical fallacies on Wednesday, Friday, and Monday. Notice where it says YouTube notes, you would be able to go to class recording and view it. So if you have not used the calendar, that's fine, but it's certainly meant there to be a helpful resource. I find it easier than using like Blackboard and all that kind of stuff because it's pretty much in your face, pretty straightforward with what you're doing. One thing that you're aware of, today it says Research Pop Culture SPAR Debates. If you click on that link, which is for today and tomorrow, and you go to the More Details option, you should therefore get, mine might look a little bit different than what you'll see, but this NHH North Hills High School Library Database username and password, this is going to be helpful when we start using library databases because it gives you the password for SIRS, issues and controversies, ProQuest, and whatnot. So if at home you're trying to get into library databases and the password's not working for it, go to the calendar. Go to today, tomorrow, and I'll put it in for next week as well, but that's where you can get access to all those databases. Maisie, you okay?
Which animal are you? Are you the
I don't know. We're all. I don't think I am a. We're just all anonymous things.
What's a chupacabra?
That is. All right. So, you don't have to keep the CHS argumentation tab open. You can do new tab, or you can use this one. We're going to go to Noodle Tools. So NoodleTools.com. Yes. All of you are going to have to revalidate probably, except for you, Chris, because I hacked your password and username last night and was using you as practice. If you haven't used Noodle Tools in a while, you're going to have to revalidate. So you would go to login. Noodle Tools has revamped the way it looks. It's still pretty much the same. It's just a different view to it. So we'll go to login. You would do your sign in, your username and password. It's the username that you use to get on the computer. So Chris, you were like what, like Menk, CHR, yeah, and then 17. It only took me like 14 combinations before I was able to figure it out. So you would use your login to get on the computer, and then your password is NHSD, NHSD, unless you have changed it. And then you would do a sign in. Now, once you sign in, it's probably going to ask you to revalidate your username password. All that means is it has been a while since you have gotten on. We want to make sure you are who you claim you are. So in both the username and the password areas, you are going to type in NHLIB, like North Hills Library. So you would do that for both username and password. And then it's just simply going to ask, when are you graduating? Are these the last 4 digits of your phone number, and that kind of stuff. That's information that's used in case you ever have to get your password that you forgot. Theoretically, whenever you graduate from high school is when your account ends. Some people like to change that graduation date. Just saying. For collegiate purposes. Once you go through that revalidation process, then it's going to bring you, to NoodleBib where we've been before, but again, it's going to look a little bit different. Yeah. I think it'd be easier to create a new folder. Create a new folder because you're going to have to reshare it either way. Lower your screen once you get to there, just so I know. Like, don't you have to shut it down, but then I at least know that who's there, who's not. Now we all look at Sam and go, come on, Sam.
I'm getting there.
I feel like I should go H7, and then you'd be like, you sunk my battleship. I like the laptops. Okay. Now, once you're in here, and they have it even highlighted in green for us, thank you, new project. I think they made these screens much more user-friendly than they used to be. Project title, I would type in CHS argumentation. You would be going citation style is MLA, and then citation level, CHS, we're advanced, and then you would hit submit. So first option MLA, second option advanced, then you would go submit. Project already exists because I have 100,000 CHS argumentation, so I'm just going to make it 2016, 2017. Boom. We're good? Once you get to this area, you have project details, not worried about. The sharing and collaboration. Middle part says sharing, project inbox. What you want to do is go to this blue little link down below, share with a project inbox. It's not going to work for me because I'm the person who has the inbox, but start to type in CHS. I'm pretty sure 2 options will show themselves. Fall 2016, one will say period 2, one will say period 9. You are going to go into period 2. And then you'll share project. There's the link, share linked Google Doc. You don't have a linked Google Doc. You don't have to share that. But you would just hit done down here at the bottom then. what's going to happen? Yeah, put your name. Yeah, please put your name.
How do I do
I did that already.
We can probably edit it. It probably just has your username, which will be fine. Just don't put in like, yeah, like if it's your username, I can tell. Okay, that's Chris Manco, that's Brooklyn Goodworth, and all those kinds of things. What therefore then happens is for me, when I go to my inbox, there we go. I've got 22 of you. This is good. It has your name by default in there, so it's your login, and then it says you. So we got Emily, Megan, Maddie Evans, Sam, Joe, Dom, Brooklyn, Emily, Maddie Pierce, Emily Kopp, Olivia, Dylan, Caitlin, Michaela, Maisie, Lindsay, Joey, Nathan, JT, not just Jay, Tamara, David, Dan, Chris. I think that's everybody.
Mike, your class is showing up on mine.
Well, what did you do? Oh, that's your problem, not mine, apparently. Here's what, and I'll come over, Ethan, and we'll check it out. Here's what we do. You don't have a pit lab that we have to do. One of the requirements, so the pit has for students taking CHS argumentation is you have to research a minimum of 50 sources throughout the course of the class. So for us, it's a semester. That doesn't mean you are writing essays with 50 sources. It doesn't mean all 50 sources are making it into your speech, but you have to research a minimum of 50 sources from 10 different locations. So your last assignment for the semester is your NoodleBib project, which is going to be 50 points, where I can kind of log on and see, hey, Emily, you have 47 sources. They're all complete, 47 out of 50, not too bad. Sam, you have 4 sources out of 50, not so good, 4 out of 50. I will check, I will monitor. There's not like a halfway due date where you need to have 10 by or 25 or 30. I'll give you the date. It's going to be in January, when all 50 sources are due. It makes your life much, much, much easier if you keep this updated throughout the course of the semester as we research. If you wait until the end, it makes life more difficult and miserable, not for me, but for you. So to try to make your life easier, try to keep it updated. The 50 should not be that difficult to come up with. How many resolutions do we have that we're researching? We have 4 resolutions. But from an argument standpoint, we got 4 plus another 4, so we got 8. I would think, like, how many sources would you think you would want to have for each argument? 3. I'd say at least 2, and you might have some with 3. If you went with 2 for each argument, 2 times 8 is 16. If Dom went with the 3, 3 times 8 is 24. You've knocked out roughly half your sources. So as long as you keep it updated, it's not that bad. Now, there are going to be some things where it doesn't always work that way. Some sources some arguments you might have 1. There could be sources that you're able to use for multiple arguments. You're still only going to cite it 1 time. The sources need to be primary. They cannot be secondary. Secondary would be like encyclopedias, or online we refer to it as Wikipedia. I don't have an axe to grind with Wikipedia at all. I use Wikipedia all the time. Wikipedia can be a great place to get some primary sources because what do they have at the bottom of the article? They have the sources. So you can still use Wikipedia as a gateway, but Wikipedia itself will not be a source. Does that make sense? Understood. When you create sources, so I'm going to make one here in a project just to show. Ethan, you still can't find us? Okay. Let me do this. Maisie?
So, like, it needs to be like a newspaper or
A
journal.
It can be newspaper, it can be journal, it can be website.
Like not a database then.
It can be database, sure. And so we can go through a lot, like the school library databases we can use, because the databases link to the article themselves. So even though you're using something like opposing viewpoints, you're still getting a primary source, where the Wikipedia article itself is not that primary source.
Like that Gale, I can use that. Gale.
Absolutely. Okay. The one thing that you need to kind of keep in mind is, so I'm in my project, I'm gonna create a new source. eventually. Ethan, you were able to create a project.
Yes.
Okay. We're probably not going to worry about it till tomorrow, because at least you can still do all this stuff. Up here at the top is where I go to the sources. I'm not worried about note cards or anything like that. When you create a source, you certainly are going to put in all the citation information. The last option, though, for a source, and I don't want you to create one, and I wish this would go a little bit faster. Yeah, database is like one of the first options. I'm just clicking doing a conference recording, even though I'm really not. All this stuff looks pretty much the same. Down at the bottom, the last aspect to any citation, and one that you normally do not use, is the annotation. For all 50 sources, you need to use the annotation. Generally, it's only going to be 2 sentences long. This is for my SPAR debate about animals. First sentence lets me know what the topic is. Second sentence lets me know why you're using it. The source gave me statistics about animal abuse. That's good for me. It just lets me know the assignment that you're using it for and the main thing you're getting from it. You're not filling out a note card where you're giving me the statistics or you're giving me the specific information, but what is it about that source that's useful for you? How many debates are you doing about these SPAR topics? 1. But you can still cite all of the sources that you look up for the 8 possible arguments. Okay? So just because you're giving one debate, you can still look up a ton of sources. Any questions at this point? And we'll go over these things multiple times. All right. Keep Noodle Tools open. New tab. Cite this. C-Y-T-E. C-Y-T-E this. Sounds like an insult. Cite this. What'd you say, Dom? Cite this. For me, and I think for you, the first option that will come up is Archive Noodle Tools. Hit Archive Noodle Tools. Think of me kindly when you use this feature. See where it has this little Archive This button, and it says Drag Button to the Toolbar. Drag the button to the toolbar. You'll see a green-white plus sign, and then you can let go, and you should have a button up there that now says Archive This. So, number 1, it says set up this little Archive This button. You click, drag, pull it up into your menu bar. So it'll be like next to your CHS ARG. A little plus sign will show up, you let go, and boom, now it's there. Did it do it?
No.
David, make sure you cite this in the, okay.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Tamara, did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the Post-Gazette. Postgazette.com. Let's look up Uber cars. Hey, what do you know? Uber aims to build Pittsburgh workforce. I'm going to click on an article. So I got the Uber one here. You can click on whatever article you want. We're not really using this as a source, but I'm showing you how this is going to work. So I'm opening up an article. One of our arguments is that 21st century technology has improved the quality of life. Maybe you think Uber cars have improved the quality of life, or maybe you're terrified of driverless cars running you over as you try to be a pedestrian and cross the street. Either way, this article might end up being useful for you. If you decide you like this article, you would go to your newfound Archive This button. I clicked the button. Now I have a loading screen coming up. It is then going to ask me the title of the article, which I have, and it's going to ask me what project do I want to put this in. I'm putting it in my CHS argumentation. Now I hit save. When I go back to Noodle Tools into my CHS argumentation, and I would have to refresh it, and watch my little spinny guy go ever so slowly, and I go to my sources, I should now have a source coming from Post-Gazette showing up on the site as I talk slowly to match the screen speed. There it is. It will not work for all websites. Encrypted websites, which usually have a padlock in front of them, it'll say like HTTPS for security. This does not work with, but it works with the majority of them. So now, under options, I can then make a couple edits. And there's 2 edits that I usually have to do, sometimes 3. The first one, and this drives me nuts. I don't know why they do it. The title still needs all caps. Like Uber aims to build Pittsburgh, I would have to capitalize aims, I would have to capitalize build, I'd have to capitalize workforce and whatnot. The other thing it does not know is the actual name of the website. What's the website that I'm at? Post-Gazette. So I would just go postgazette.com. And then down at the bottom, I'd have to put in my annotation. When you hit Cite This, it does give you a box for an annotation. Never have been able to figure it out why whatever I type in that annotation box does not translate to the source. So the annotation you still have to come back and edit. But it does take care of the gobbledygook of typing in the URL and title and things like that. If anything, it's a nice way to kind of have favorites, because once it is in here, it will therefore save the website, that you have been researching. So you can certainly use the archive this. It is not picture perfect, but you can view the website. You could go through and try to find like 10 sources. You could cite them, and then you could view the archive website through Noodle Tools, and you have access to all those things that you were looking at before. So it's kind of like a nice home base to have for various arguments. Okay, so for websites, you can absolutely use that, and apparently it's going to take forever for it to load. All right, I'm going to show you a couple more places that we are going to bookmark for some favorites. Procon.org. Procon, all one word, .org. Get a website, should look like this, with Desmond Tutu on the front. This is constantly evolving. It is looking at, arguments. There's search options that you have, issues we cover. Do notice that one of the ones that we have down here is minimum wage under most popular. So I would expect, since we're looking at the minimum wage should not be increased, I would think people would want to look at minimum wage, and here's some argument. So gives you a history, feedback of minimum wage. Now, I consider this site like Wikipedia. It gives you ideas. You're not going to cite procon.org, okay? It's giving you ideas, but it's also giving you reasons for, reasons against. You would not want to put all your eggs in the basket of procon.org. If Megan is going for and I'm going against, and I use procon.org and just that, what does she have access to? Pro 1, Con 1, Con 2, Con 3. She knows exactly what my argument is going to be. However, and they have a lot of arguments that you can see for it. One of the things that you'll notice is they have footnotes. This one, it looks like it has 183 footnotes. If I click on one of those footnotes, I have a whole bunch of sources that I can now start to use, and those certainly could be used as sources for NoodleBib. Some of them are print sources, some of them are online sources. I can't promise that you'd be able to use all of them, but if you see something like from Business Insider or Forbes magazine, I would probably type in Tim Worstall, Walmart's Oakland store closure, minimum wage is blamed. I'm going to copy, go to a new tab, paste it in, see what happens. Hey, what do you know? I think I found the article. Continue. And then I would be able to use that article. So procon.org would be a way for you to, again, kind of find some ideas. So I would hit the little star, and then that would get added to your bookmarks.
You said something about international, I can use examples across the board, but I can't. Like animals, we're using.
Animals, we said, yeah, we could go international with that one.
For minimum wage, I can't talk about the pay and
You could certainly still talk about working conditions internationally as it pertains to your argument, but you would just be going minimum wage should be increased within the United States. You wouldn't be saying that Mexico's minimum wage should be increased.
Right.
But you could use examples, yeah. So like I think I said with the police, with the body cameras, you could use examples of police brutality from other countries,
Right.
but it would only be for the U.S. that the argument would be for. Okay? Another one we're going to type in, idebate.org. idebate.org. Not to be confused with udebate.org. I don't know. Let's find out later. idebate.org, it's similar than ProCon. The nice thing about iDebate is it is sanctioned by the International Debate Education Association. These are the big guys when it comes to like collegiate debates, international debates, and things like that. It's very similar to procon.org where they look at arguments. They have a thing called here, the second one over is the debatabase. If you go, which I just like to say, debatabase. If you go to the debatabase guide, they kind of switched this a little bit. Debatabase motions is probably where we're going to go. So where they have that line half down the screen, it's the third option. No, hold on. They switched this. Let's go to top 100 debates. They used to have it set up in subjects. I don't want to know how to use it. I just want to use it. All right, I don't know what they're doing with their database. I'm going to type in minimum wage under go and see what happens. Or you could certainly do something like technology. Should there be an international minimum wage? Should the minimum wage be raised? Now you see that there are arguments that would be coming up. So the database itself isn't working quite as well. Still fun to say. Search by keyword, though, you could type in topics. Much like procon.org, I can click on an issue. They will have sometimes for and against. You would not cite this. However, the one that I went to, notice they do have some links that, again, you can use. The arguments were, you notice in minimum wage, the link that I'm in, at the bottom it has database debate. This House believes in a national minimum wage. That is a link to look at because they will probably go into much more detail where now you have points for, points against. You would not cite this. However, they have a bibliography, and a lot of the things on their bibliography has links to PDF or websites. So again, you would be able to cite those. You would use this for like baseline information, but you would ultimately cite the articles that go into more detail about it. But any of those articles you would be able to use. So if you have not already, we're idebate.org. I would put that gold star so that it would be showing up here. Tomorrow when you come in, you're going to grab computer. I'm going to trust that you can remember the number that you have. You'll log in. We're going to take the quiz. I'm going to show you a couple more places that we would use for research throughout the year. This isn't research just for this debate. Assuming we have time tomorrow, you'll be able to begin. If not, we'll wait till weekend. All next week, we'll have access for research. Just so you are aware, beginning next week, at some point, I don't know when, the laptops will probably disappear because they're doing CDT testing coming up. So if that happens next week, we'll use the iPads as a backup. They're not as user-friendly for research, but it's the best that we would be able to do. So just make you aware of that. Please log off, close the lid. By all means, plug in the computer back into the same spot where you took it from.